Hello and welcome to my article Facilitation. My article Facilitation is from an article called A Pick-Me-Up for Infants' Exploratory Skills. Early Simulated Experiences Reaching for Objects Using Sticky Mittens Enhances Young Infants' Object Exploration Skills. It is by Needham, Barrett, and Peterman in 2002. They basically used 32 healthy full-term infants that were all about 3 months old, and they used 15 girls and 17 boys. They had sessions at their home and in the laboratory. But in the laboratory they did prehension trials, which consisted of looking time and sweating behavior. And then they also did object exploration trials, which measured holding time, looking time, and melding time. Here is a demonstration video. As you can tell, they basically used fleece mittens, and they put Velcro on it, and they used toys and mostly teethers that also had Velcro on it. The results were that they found infants involved in the experiment outperformed infants without the experiment in object exploration and in object-directed action. That was all mostly done in 10 to 14 sessions, and the infants involved in the experiment sweated at the objects more even if they weren't wearing the mittens at all. And they just believed that the experience increased their engagement in objects and that they were not just trained. And they noticed that the short sessions had a big impact on object exploration, and active engagement was critical. But they also noticed that the infants spent more time exploring the object after the experiment, like they were more curious about it. So it just really they wanted to grab at them more. But the infants switched between the visual and oral exploration and used more strategies than the infants who did not experiment. The study is beneficial to the classroom because it kind of tells us that we got to give students more of the opportunities to learn, and they need the opportunity to explore things. So we need to make those opportunities available and maybe think outside the box, do something different. And that's also right where we need to give them hands-on activities comes in too. Because the motor experience helps develop cognitive skills, because using their hands helps their brain remember something. So we need to play the games, do the experiments, do whatever else we can think of that might be beneficial. And in more recent years, it's been discovered that the sticky mittens experiment can be used for interventions with motor impairments or delays. There is another article in 2017 called The Characteristics of Brief Sticky Mittens Training that led to increases in object exploration. That was also by Needham, and that was done in 2017. And I believe they are still conducting these studies. But this time around they did 2 experiments. In experiment 1, they did the sticky minutes training or the non-sticky minutes training, and they compared it, and the results showed that the infants who participated in the sticky minutes training had increased looking towards and had more touching with the non-sticky minutes training. So they did a lot more looking at it and a lot more touching if they were the ones that had the sticky mittens on. In experiment 2, they collected data to measure the auditory feedback, and the results showed increases in exploratory activity. And they are still doing ongoing testing to test more hypotheses that are tested and questioned every single time they do these. takeaways from this article is that sticky mittens experiment is beneficial for learning and development because it can be used for interventions on infants with delays. And it helps determine grasping skills and fine motor skills. But here are some discussion questions. Why do experiments like the sticky mittens improve cognitive development? What are the differences between the 2002 article and the 2017 article? They're slightly different. And then what about parent involvement with both of these experiments? How much parent involvement would be too much? And what kind of measures should be taken so there isn't too much parent involvement, especially with these infants only being 3 months old? Any other questions? Thank you.